Before we get into today's video, I did want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I hope everybody is doing good and feeling great. So in today's video, we are going to be doing a little update on the Bryan Kohberger situation. If you guys are not all caught up on Bryan Kohberger and the Idaho 4 students, I have a whole playlist where you can go and get caught up. But he just had another court hearing on the 26th. Now, I haven't updated you guys on the situation in a while because it's been like a bunch of little tidbits that's been being released. Nothing super monumental, so just a bunch of little things. But something that was being considered back the last time that we talked about this was if there were going to be cameras in the courtroom. Well, Judge did decide that there would be cameras in the courtroom, but they would be streamed from the court. So when I watched this hearing, I had to literally watch it on Judge's like YouTube channel where they streamed it and then deleted it right afterwards. So they streamed it live and then it was deleted afterwards. The scene, and I'm going to have some clips in here for you guys, so make sure you stay all the way to the end of this video too, because I'm going to give you guys the high notes of what I thought was really important or interesting. Then more towards the end of the video, we're going to go over some more interesting things that happened and some opinions, and I'm going to show y'all some videos. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you guys my opinion and probably and I told you so, because it really looks like they're trying to go into this direction that I felt like they were going to go in last year. But the court scene with these cameras in it kind of reminds me of the Letitia Stouch trial where, you know, you're just watching one camera that is shooting straight on. But hey, I'm not going to complain about it because one camera is better than no cameras. I mean, the Lori Vallow trial, they only had audio. So at least as of now, there's going to be the court camera in the courtroom. So on January 26th, there were 2 hearings in the Bryan Kohberger case. The first one was sealed, so we don't even know what happened with that one. The second hearing and a scheduling conference were actually, live streamed from this YouTube channel from the court that I was telling you guys about. The media is no longer allowed to have their cameras in the courtroom, and they are not allowed to live tweet anymore. And the media is also no longer allowed to manipulate the courtroom footage, which in other words, zoom in on Bryan Kohberger's face or zoom in on certain people. So yeah. Now, during this hearing, the first motion that was being considered was whether or not the judge would reconsider his prior ruling regarding the standard of proof for the grand jury indictment. If you guys don't remember, a brief overview, the prosecution had a grand jury indictment against Bryan Kohberger, and he has been fighting it this whole entire time. The defense argued that the standard of proof to indict him was supposed to be beyond a reasonable doubt, which is what they said last time. But however, the judge previously ruled that the standard of proof needed is probable cause, which is the standard across the entire United States. But for some reason, the defense wanted the judge to reconsider the motion that he denied. Then the defense asked the judge for leave so that they could file an interlocutory appeal. Now, this would mean that the entire criminal case would be put on pause while the defense filed their appeal with the Supreme Court. The case would not be able to move forward at all until there was an answer that was given. The judge also denied this, which, I mean, you guys, that could have put the trial off even another year from where they're at now. Then they all got into the scheduling conference part of the hearing. And the defense said that there was absolutely no way that they would be ready for a trial until at least the summer of 2025, even though the prosecution had actually said, not too long ago that they were going to be ready to go to trial this year, 2024, in the summer, okay? But now the defense is saying that there is no way that they could be ready for trial before the summer, basically, of 2025. And then they said that they probably wouldn't even be ready then. The prosecution brought up the fact that the trial needed to be had during the summer and that they needed to really keep things timely. Now, the reason why the prosecution said that the trial needed to happen during the summer is because there's actually a high school right across the street from the courthouse, and there's going to be a lot of cars there, cameras, a lot going on, and it would just be better for the students for it to be summertime and, the main school year to be out. Now, even though this situation happened with the 4 Idaho students in 2022, the end of 2022, Ann Taylor, Bryan Kohberger's main defense attorney, got up there and said that there was no way that she would be ready for trial by this summer of 2024. And as a matter of fact, if the trial was set for 2024, she would not be able to be an effective counsel for Bryan Kohberger, which really came off as it almost seemed, in my very unprofessional opinion, almost a little threatening, almost like if we have to go to trial this summer, I would be ineffective as a counsel. So basically, the trial would get thrown out anyways. Anne said that there was just way too much work left to do on their side, and she also said that there were over 500 witnesses in this case, and that she had only spoken to maybe 10% of them. She also mentioned that they had barely been able to go through the 51 terabytes of discovery that was turned over to them, and that what they have received so far isn't even all of it. And you want to know why, Ann Taylor? Because you're spending so much time trying to get this indictment thrown out and trying to get the DNA thrown out that you're not looking at any of the, okay. Then Anne went on to say that she believed that this trial would probably take more like 12 to 15 weeks. Do you guys hear me? 12 to 15 weeks for the trial. Just a reminder, Casey Anthony sat in jail for 3 years waiting to go to trial, okay? And then her trial took 6 weeks, if you want to call it a trial. Some of us call it a circus, but a trial nevertheless. Ann Taylor is saying that she thinks this trial is going to take 12 to 15 weeks. I'm trying to figure out when it don't seem like he has got any witnesses on his side. But that's what she said. She said she could potentially make 2025 work, but she did mention that if they were to have all of the discovery turned over in a timely manner, they might be able to make like March of 2025 work, but that was wishful thinking at best. Then the prosecution said that they prefer the summer, again, because of the high school situation. So at best, it'll be probably next year, 2025. At the end of all of this, the judge did not set an actual trial date. He did say that he wanted to wait until the work involved seemed closer to being done before making his decision. I will say this, Judge does seem very fair. And he said multiple times, I want to do this right, because I don't want to have to do it again. And even though I wish the media cameras were in the courtroom, because I want to see people close up. I mean, that's just me. But, that's what I want. Does that mean that that's the right thing to do? Probably, maybe not. But, I'll be real with y'all. I want to see close up. I want to see if you're clenching your jaw when people are testifying. But that's just me. But he seems very fair. Judge did go on to say that his heart really went out to the families, and he acknowledged the fact that they really could not move forward in their lives until this case is over, and he apologized for that.
So my heart goes out to the victims. I can't even imagine the pain, the grief, because you can't really go forward with your life is hanging over your head. So, sorry. We'll see.
In the beginning, one of the lawyers for the defense mentioned that they needed time to get everything done in this case, especially when the state is trying to kill someone.
Particularly in a case where the state's decided that it wants to try to kill someone. Thank you.
Now, when I heard him say that, whoa. Like the state is trying to kill someone. Like how inappropriate. When it was the prosecution's turn to argue, they definitely let it be known that they did not appreciate that comment and asked that it not happen again.
Mr. Lodson said something that I think needs to be addressed. He makes the allegation the state is trying to kill someone here, and frankly, I find that offensive. What the state is trying to do is to enforce the law that our legislature has put in place. It says, in cases such as this, with facts like this, a jury is entitled to decide not only guilt, but potential felony. We are simply trying to fulfill our responsibilities under the law. To characterize it as the state is trying to kill someone is just simply appealing to raw emotion, and it has no place in this court. We would ask that that not be allowed any further.
The defense also mentioned that if they were able to get the motion for leave time approved to go to the Supreme Court, that the process would not affect the trial timeline because they want to push the trial as far out as they think it should be.
As the state undoubtedly knows, trial won't put an end to this case. This case will go on for 28 years if they do actually achieve a conviction. So the idea that somehow we're running towards something and that's going to do anybody any good from their standpoint is, I think, false. What we're trying to do is make sure that the things that occur in this case are done correctly. And if you want to talk about how long things are going to take, get some stuff wrong and then see how long it all takes. We're asking that the court would give us permission to go and see if the Idaho Supreme Court would be willing to weigh in on this particular subject. Whether or not the case makes its way to trial at some point is, in our mind, just part of what the court has to look at.
And like I was saying earlier, that appeal process could take up to a year. So it seems like the defense is like showing that they are absolutely in no rush at all, or even trying to be like in any sort of timely manner for this situation that happened, again, back in the end of 2022, where these families lost their loved ones. Now, when arguing about the trial date, the defense did say that they could maybe make the summer of 2025 work, but that they also mentioned that they planned on filing a motion to have the case moved out of Latah County. And when they did, the prosecution went on to say that pretty much people all over the world know about this case. And I agree. The Richard Allen situation, that seemed like a case where it needed to be moved out of the town because allegedly he was getting bullied or messed with or even somewhat controlled by the people in that county and the people that worked at the jails and the prisons there. That makes sense for him to be moved. I don't understand why they're trying to get Bryan Kohberger moved out of there. It just, again, instead of working on their defense, it's like they're, I don't know, maybe because that is their defense. And as I go on with my opinion, I just want to remind you guys, I am not a professional. My opinions come from living as a person in the world just like y'all. I'm not a professional. I don't know all the ins and outs. I am a civilian watching this trial with my own opinions, just like every one of you guys. At one point when Anne was describing all of the work that her and her team still had left to do, she mentioned that she still needed time to go back 3 generations in Bryan Kohberger's family to learn about his family history. And I don't know, why does she need to go back 3 generations to learn about Bryan Kohberger's family? To tell me, did he do this to these 4 people or not? Like, where was he on this night? Okay, his alibi was that he was riding in a car by himself. He just happened to turn his phone off in the 2 hours that the situation happened, and his phone just happened to ping there 12 different times around the time that the 4 students' lives were taken, including the next morning, and his DNA just happened to be found on the knife sheath, and you're going back 3 generations for what? His great-great-grandpappy? What does he got to do with this? I don't understand it, y'all, but maybe y'all can let me know in the comments what that has to do with anything. Why they need this long extension on the trial while these families are sitting here wanting to put this behind them so they can somewhat move forward. And she wants to go back 3 generations. I don't get it. I just don't understand. Maybe they should go through that 51 terabytes. Maybe that would be a little bit more, productive. Maybe they should go through that and interview more than 10% of the 500 witnesses. 500. Now, we all know that they're not going to actually call 500 different people up on a stand. They're probably going to call the ones that they feel are the most valuable. But the fact that they have 500, but nevertheless, towards the end, the prosecution did seem more sympathetic, I guess, and understanding that the defense would need more time. But I don't know. Now, let me just get into some of my opinions. Again, my very, very unprofessional opinion, okay? My backseat driver, my Monday morning quarterback self, okay? I told y'all in this last year in a video, I said, I got a feeling that they're going to be trying to find a loophole to get this case thrown out versus actually defending him. And man, it just seems like it, you guys. It does. And something that I want to say, it was Kaylee's family said last year, that Bryan Kohberger in jail, he gets along so well. He don't need no protection. He's in there helping other inmates with their law paperwork. So he is in there 24/7, going through documents, going through statutes, looking for loopholes. Because mind you, he's a criminology major, okay? Doing all of this, looking for all these little loopholes. And he's, in my opinion, part of his own defense team. While he's in there helping others, probably getting all kind of snacks, and because that's how it works in jail. He's probably trading his services and getting along with everybody. While you got these 4 families out here shattered, completely shattered. And listen, Bryan Kohberger is still innocent until proven guilty. When you talk about, let's say, Ted Bundy was on his own defense team as well. And he sat there and did the same exact things. It's just so weird to me. It is weird. They are fighting tooth and nail to get this indictment thrown out. Then they're fighting to get the DNA stuff. Still, they brought up during this trial on the 26th, and Taylor did, saying, we still cannot figure out how they made the match from the genealogy to Bryan Kohberger. And in my opinion, why does it matter? If the FBI helped them, if they had a satellite camera, if it was Bryan, it was Bryan. But they're looking for that little loophole, in my opinion. If it was his DNA and it was found on the knife sheath, they're trying to figure out the genealogy thing so they can find something wrong with it so they can get the DNA thrown out. But if it was his DNA, then he needs to stay on trial for this. I don't know, you guys. This ain't gonna go just as smooth as any old case. And that, to me, makes me feel like even more that he's the guy. I still think he's the guy. I know a lot of y'all think he's the guy, and some of y'all think he's not the guy, but I still think he's the guy. Okay? Maybe 1 or 2 coinky-dinks, but all of these things, and even now the way that they're handling this, it seems like they have no defense. They have no defense for him. And so they're looking for a loophole to get it thrown out. Hopefully they won't find one. Y'all let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. My heart goes out to the families. I can't imagine, that feeling when a loved one tells you, I got to tell you something when you get home. And you're like, no, tell me now. No, tell me now. And you're like, no. And then you're like all day long waiting. I just can't imagine what the families feel like. I mean, obviously that is a completely, totally different level. But they're like, they still don't know if this is the person or not. Or if the person that did this to their family members, their loved ones, is still out there. I mean, Ethan's siblings still go to that school. I can't imagine what's going on in the family's minds. I hope it doesn't get drug out for years and years longer. Y'all let me know what you think down below. Other than that, I love you guys. Thank y'all so much for being here, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.